I thought that it would be interesting to do a food critique over something that I've actually eaten. So this video is going to be a food critique and basically a best practices for what I do when I'm eating at a restaurant. Stay tuned. I have a lot to say. Not too long ago, my brother was in from out of town, and we don't spend a lot of time together, and it's hard to pin him down, and I wanted definitely to be in his world and spend some time with him, and he wanted to go to this restaurant. So I don't want to be a food snob, and I want to socialize and enjoy family and friends, and I had to look at the menu and make some educated choices on what would be best for me to consume and health conscious, as well as what I thought would have the least amount of fallout. So what I typically do when I'm on my own is I find a responsible restaurant. I have many restaurants in the area that I live in, and I try to find a restaurant that has made some type of commitment to serving real food, non-GMO, grass-fed, organic foods. In this case, it wasn't an option because I knew that I was going to the restaurant anyway to socialize with my brother. So the very next thing that I do in both scenarios is I ask questions. So prior to, I would normally make a phone call to see if the restaurant offered any organic or food conscious choices on the menu. And if not, then of course I would not go. But in this case, that was not an option, so I had to wait until I was at the table. And I just calmly, quietly pulled the waiter to the side and asked him several questions to help me maneuver through the menu to make the best choice for a meal for me that day. And then, most of all, I have a food plan now. I don't have a binder or a clipboard or anything where I'm writing down a food plan. I just think in my mind, if I'm going to eat something, what am I going to do going forward to offset the thing that I've eaten? Like if I eat a hamburger, what am I going to do going forward to offset the acid and the difficulty for my body to process that food? So on the menu, that's what I did. I looked at the options and I developed myself a food plan. Without further ado, I'm going to go over my best practices for when I'm eating out at restaurants. So the restaurant of choice was Papado's, and in my opinion, it was a beautiful presentation of both the salad and the entree, which was the crispy salmon and scallop. I believe it was called something different on the menu actually. So starting over here on the right with the salad, if you see the cursor, the salad was served in a decent sized proportion. I was very surprised at the amount of romaine lettuce that they provided. It has their house croutons as well as some miniature bite-sized tomatoes. It has some Parmesan cheese and I believe their house dressing. Then for the beauty of the evening was the crispy salmon and scallop. So on the very top there's a scallop. It was very juicy, tender. Next to that is some shrimp, and sprinkled around the top is lobster. There's also this heaping piece of salmon, and if you can look at the fork, the salmon was a brick of salmon. And then I was very surprised at the proportion of spinach that was served. This is well over a cup of spinach. To my tasting delight and pleasure, it was doused, sprinkled, smothered in this sauce that was not Alfredo. It was like a wine cream butter sauce. It had a little sweetness to it. It could have been a little sweeter. I like my salmon to be with, if it's going to be some sweetness on it, I like to be able to definitely identify the honey or whatever was added to it. So, into the formal critique of the meal. The salad, I don't know if it was me, I don't know if it was their dressing, but there was a bitter aftertaste. I don't know if it was because of there's no um, organics at the restaurant, but I did not like the salad. I labored to eat it. I did not even like the croutons. I have eaten croutons that were buttery, crunchy, and these were just, they were kind of dry. The salmon, I was so mouth-watering to eat this. When I cut it open, it was raw. I should have took a picture. I forgot. But it was raw, so I had to have it taken back to the kitchen and reheated. I saw a video on YouTube about some salmon in Sam's, and there was a live parasite crawling across the salmon. So needless to say, I do not eat sushi. I don't eat anything raw, and I needed them to reheat this, which they did. I'm always strategizing and planning with the food that I'm eating. And it was intentional that I ordered both of these items. I ordered the salad on purpose instead of ordering a different type of appetizer. They had a variety. I ordered the salad in combination with the spinach because both of these greens offset the toxins and offset the acids and offset things that we consume in the air, in our meals, in life. So I know that they were not organic, but before 2016, I was not an organic eater, and I ate what was in the grocery store. I did change my diet to consume more fruits and vegetables, but the fruits and vegetables that were available in the grocery store still had nutrients to them. They still enabled me to repair and heal. So I imagined that these two sets of greens were going to help offset the implications of and the quality of food that I was eating. The question is, how did I know to get the greens? So I pulled the waiter to the side and I asked him some very important questions. First question, were there any organics on the menu? I asked, was any of the meat um, organic, free range, grass fed meats? I asked, was the fish wild caught? And I asked, were there any non-GMO items? To all of those, he said no. So I knew that I was dealing with these things that are typical in processed food. And I'm going to talk about them as they correspond with one another, the fish and the vegetables. So starting with the farm raised under the fish, as well as the GMOs that's liable to be in the fish and the vegetables, artificial coloring, preservatives are liable to be in the fish and the vegetables, and synthetics. Those are liable to be in the fish and the vegetables. So coming over here to the vegetables, the chemicals would be like the pesticides and things that they put on the vegetables to keep the bugs off and to keep coloring and all kinds of things they do to make the vegetables look like they look in the stores. But going down here to the very bottom, the poor soil conditions. So this is why I eat organic. While you are spending $3 for organic vegetables when you can spend $1 or 50 cents for ones that are not, when you buy non-organic, you're getting about a penny's worth. So with the soil conditions, they typically overplant the soil and they do not use natural resources to replenish the soil so that the vegetables can be nutrient for consumption. So when the soil is stripped of nutrients, it's the shell of itself, and they have to do extra things to pump up that vegetable. And when you consider all the things that are piled on top of that, these vegetables are just as hard for the body to digest as meats are. They have to be detoxed. They're taxing on the liver and the kidneys. So coming over here to the fish, I get the farm raised fish idea. I support it. We were overfishing the ocean and there was mass die-outs of mammals and baby animals, and I get it. But man is overzealous, and instead of finding out a way to section off a body of water or section off the ocean and say these are the fish that we're going to eat, they do things like grow the fish in the fish eggs in test tubes and put them in fish tanks with no vegetation, no natural habitat. They swim around in clumps of in hundreds of fish in a tank, and this causes the fish to be look different, taste different, and behave differently. They don't want to reproduce. They come out looking funny, and so they have to use chemicals and artificial insemination and other tactics to have a product to be consumed by the public. So with the salmon, I know that because the salmon, when it's farm raised, it loses its coloring, and so they have to put this pink dye in it. And so typically, I would say no to the fish, and I would say no to the vegetables. But like I said, I was out with someone else, and I wanted to be a part and not a food snob. So I went ahead and I got the meal. I'm well into my food plan. I've asked the questions. I'm going to eat there. I know that there's going to be fallout. So the question is what to do next. And so this is what I would do. I would consume some type of beverage that supports the body, supports detoxing, supports digestion. So by chance, I had this elderberry kefir. It was random. And after I ate this meal, I, by chance, drank the kefir, and I found out that there's a trick. You have to find food that correlates, that brings out the flavoring of these choice drinks. And ironically, the elderberry kefir um, was collaborative with the flavoring of this food. It almost tasted like an exquisite wine. What I would imagine consuming wine with a meal would taste like. I have tried to consume wine with a meal, and to me it tastes like poison, and it makes the food taste like poison. But these two things complemented each other. So I will have a video in the description box that talks more about the kefir as well as the kombucha as well. You just have to find what foods go with that particular flavoring. So when I ate this meal, I was not in any pain, but I felt my food digesting. You're not supposed to feel your food digesting. I felt blockages, and I felt it going down slow, and it was kind of heavy even though I'd only eaten salmon and not like a beef or a steak or something like that. But once I consumed the kefir, it just smoothed out the whole digestion process and allowed me to relax and enjoy. Let me just add that I would in the future bring a drink like this to a restaurant. This restaurant in particular was expensive. My meal was like $40. So in my mind, it's okay for me to bring an outside drink, especially when it's not offered on the menu. But moving on, don't have any kefir or any kombucha. What would I do to deal with the fallout from eating food that I know wasn't of as good quality? So I do lifestyle preparations, and that's just the way I go about life in general. I prepare for what the day may bring. And that would be my organic, not my organic, that would be my fake it till you make it smoothie. And I will link a video in the description box that gives more information about this smoothie, and also the video that proves that this smoothie is effective. I would drink that. I drank it before the actual meal as a lifestyle, but getting one right afterwards would not hurt anything. It would work to help digestion, help to offset the acids and the detoxing from food that has preservatives, synthetics, and chemicals inside of it. Also, I will link this video in the description box as well regarding wheatgrass. Wheatgrass is a well-known natural organic that supports detoxing internally and externally. I no longer consume it with the lemon or the honey. I just take it like a soldier, and I do several tablespoons of wheatgrass in my 32-ounce cup of water, which I did have at the restaurant. There are certainly other options to consider when dealing with adverse reactions from eating poor quality food, imbalanced diet, or just some food that did not agree with you. I'm just talking about the methods that I know have worked and things that I've done in the past. There is a passive and aggressive approach to this. This overall food plan, this best practices is a passive approach. The more aggressive approaches would be, of course, the enemas, an official cleanse kit, and the elimination diets. But all things considered, I have ate at a restaurant. I looked at the menu, made my food choice based on pros and cons and possible fallouts. I have drank my water that was provided at the restaurant or my wheatgrass drink. I possibly have brought along a kombucha or a kefir, and I'm still having reactions from the food. So I do know to the right here is a detox bath. I will link a video in the description box that provides more information about these. But it's really just the apple cider vinegar. The back scrubber is optional. The face mask is not required. And you just need some quality soap. But I do know, using my pH test strips, that this bath will effectively pull up the pH substantially. It reduces foot inflammation. It reduces tension from pressure from working out, from things going on in your digestion. I did one of these baths when I did the great liver and gallbladder flush. They're just a really nifty tool to help calm and relax the body. Also, to the left, activated charcoal. So I don't normally consume activated charcoal, although this is a normal use in one of the protocols, the Garrison therapy. I use my heavy ammo like this in the background on an as needed basis. So on this particular day, I ate something that had me an instant banging, slamming headache up against my skull walls. I was nauseated and I wanted to vomit. And I had tried other things throughout the day to try to get some relief, and the water alone wasn't working. So I took one serving of the activated charcoal, and within the hour I got relief. So the activated charcoal, I will link a video in the description box that gives more information about it, but it's not anything that does anything chemical. There are no reactions. It just binds to toxins in the body and makes them available to be released, so they're not they don't get to enter into your bloodstream and things like that. Also, I put this on here again, the kefir, more specifically because it's the apple cider vinegar tonic. I will link a video in the description box about this as well, but I do know that apple cider vinegar with the mother organic works to relieve acid reflux, indigestion, slow digestion, low acids in the stomach. It's a very nifty tool to get relief after something that has been eaten that does not agree with the body. My final critique of the meal. So I'm going to be evaluating this meal on appearance, taste, and quality. The appearance, I'm going to give it an A-. This is actually the second rendering of this entree, of this main course. The first rendering was raw. They should put on the description on the menu, sushi, salmon, raw salmon, not cooked, something like that, because that's exactly what I received. But it was still beautiful both times they brought it out. It looked tasty, it smelled good, so it still gets an A-. Going on to taste, I'm going to give it a C for taste. Really, for the price that was paid, I expected more savory, more sincere, more intense flavor from the salmon for sure. The spinach, the scallops, and even the Caesar salad. I've tasted better Caesar salads that did not cost, what was it, $10 or $17 or however much that Caesar salad costs. I've gone to the supermarket and bought organic, wild caught salmon, organic spinach, things like that, and used olive oil, salt and pepper, and got a better rendering of a meal than that was sold at this restaurant with all the money that was thrown at it. I really do wish I knew how to make the sauces, because then I would never eat out. So going on to the most important evaluation of the night, critique of the night, which is quality. For quality, I give this an F. It gets a failing grade because when you consider the fact that both combined, the main course and the salad, it was about $50 without the tip. I expected more out of the meal. I expected there to be some type of consciousness, some type of claim, some type of actual quality in the food that they were serving. I did not want to spend $50 on a brand, especially a brand that I'm not going to be able to consume repeatedly. This is going to go in and hopefully it goes right on out the backside. So I would think that they would have some sort of conscious eating, some organics, maybe all of the fruits and vegetables are organic, something to help offset, something to help pacify the poor quality food, the toxins, the chemicals, the synthetics, the GMOs that they're serving to the public. When you consider how much spinach costs in the grocery stores, and I'm not talking about organic spinach, just regular spinach and just regular salmon, they're making a killing because you know they're getting a reduced price because they're mass producing and mass selling these things. So they're taking home a substantial amount of money and they're not giving anything back to the public. And for that reason, it fails. It gets a failing score. So it is the end of the evening. I've executed my food plan. I have chosen the best option from the menu. I drank water or the wheatgrass water. I have kombucha or kefir. I've done the detox bath, and everything is going, and my digestion has happened, and I'm hungry, and it's late in the evening. I would negate buying from the dessert menu. That is a toxic time bomb waiting to happen. I would reserve my desserts for when I got home later. Something that I knew was going to be organic, non-GMO, something that I knew was going to be quality and help offset the food that I had eaten. So these bowls of mixed fruits accomplish just that. And I may link a video in the description box that talks about a one-day fruits detox that I did. But overall, either one of these, they are going to help with digestion, help with fiber. They're going to offset pH, inflammation. They have vitamins, minerals, and nutrients. They are detoxing to the body, and it's a large enough portion that it's a great way to end the night without having food mares, nightmares from the food that you ate before you went to bed, indigestion, pains in the stomach when you wake up. This would be a nice way to end the events of the day and to offset the toxins and the negative things that was received in that meal. I believe that's all that I wanted to say. Until next time, thanks for watching.